Deep in the Cerrado, where the thick forest whispers ancient secrets, lay the village of Santa Clara, a place where time seemed to follow its own rhythm, marked by the cricket's song and the murmur of wind through dry leaves. The setting sun dyed the sky lilac, and shadows lazily stretched over the small houses made of clay and wood. The peaceful routine of the villagers, however, was only the surface of a deep story, shrouded in fear and mystery. For generations, the village lived under a heavy shadow, the curse of the Headless Mule. Every Thursday, as night began to cloak the landscape, a thunderous gallop echoed from the forest, accompanied by a strange neigh that made even the bravest men cling to faith. It was the mule, a creature of fire and agony, born from a punishment no villager dared to forget. Isabel, a woman whose beauty and soul lit the village's small church, carried a secret that could condemn her forever. In love with the young priest Luis, their forbidden love defied sacred orders and awakened the ire of the most conservative villagers. Nights by the riverbank, where they exchanged confidences and silent promises, became the flame that ignited divine fury. On that fateful Thursday, when the sky closed in thick clouds and the sharp wind announced the storm, Isabel disappeared. The first rumors spoke of flames dancing in the forest, a neigh piercing the nights, and silver horseshoes reflecting terror in houses crowded with families. The Headless Mule was born in darkness and had no intention of leaving. The villagers locked their doors and sighed, aware that the night would be long and that the sound of burning hooves would not cease until the first rays of sunlight. From the beginning, Isabel felt the weight of the villagers' gaze upon her. Her steps, once light, became furtive. Living with priest Luis in the church was the sweetest and most bitter part of her life, a forbidden love that set her heart aflame but also threatened to consume her. They met in secret beneath the rustling trees near the river that ran as a silent witness to the passion-defying dogma. Isabel knew she was sinful, but could not deny the love that grew with every meeting. The fear of consequences was suffocating, but desire was stronger. The village, with its rigid rules and unchanging traditions, permitted no rebellions, especially from women. When the church filled for Thursday Mass, the priest felt agony he tried to hide behind words of comfort. Isabel, in turn, was taken by a foreboding shadow creeping from her innermost self. Little did she know she was about to enter a cycle of pain and transformation. That night, the village's silence was broken by a sound no one could forget. A fierce neigh cut through the air, followed by a crash that seemed to shake the ground. The flames that should have been the mule's head lit the forest's darkness, and a giant body with silver horseshoes neighed and ran at full speed. Isabel's transformation into the Headless Mule came with screams and a pain that seemed to pierce her soul. Trapped in a burning beast, she roamed the village's paths, spreading fire and terror. Since then, the nights were never the same. The villagers lived in constant tension. Stories of the mule attacking animals, destroying fences, and frightening even the bravest reached everyone. Their house doors gained extra locks, and windows were blocked. Words of prayer became desperate pleas to ward off evil. The rumor of the infernal neigh made even the most skeptical fall into disbelief and fear. Children cried silently, women knitted with their eyes closed to what the night concealed, and men wielded tools, ready to defend their families. The days following the transformation were of silent terror. The village of Santa Clara remained locked in their homes, and the church bells seemed heavy in the fear-laden air. But amid the silence, a group of young people began to meet in secret. Led by Matthias, they shared not only stories, but also plans. They knew they needed to act if they wanted to save Isabel and free the village from the Headless Mule's curse. Gathered in the church's shadow, they discussed ancient legends, consulted old notebooks, searching for clues on how to break such a cruel spell. They discovered the mule originated from the lands of the Iberian Peninsula, where punishment befell women who dared defy norms, especially involving priests. The silver bit, a mystical relic in its mouth, was the key to unlocking the curse. Matthias spent nights studying, improving makeshift weapons, and strengthening faith in the ritual's weight. Other youths collected herbs, crafted amulets, and learned the villagers' oldest prayers to be prepared for the confrontation. When night fell, staining the sky an absolute black, the village was quieter than ever. Windows were boarded up, and only Matthias and his companions ventured toward the forest, torches trembling in hands, hearts pounding in anticipation. The gallops echoed first, then a neigh that made blood boil. The headless mule emerged from the shadows, a flaming comet with silver horseshoes fiercely striking the forest floor. The air seemed incandescent, with the flames exploding where its head should be. The fight was brutal, pure survival and despair. Spears pierced the beast's burning skin. Prayers spiraled through the air as the youths struggled to tear off the bit. The neigh turned to a lament when, at the height of night, the bit broke and the creature lost its infernal powers. There, in that moonlit clearing, Isabel emerged, exhausted and bleeding, a body full of pain and loss. Her eyes reflected the emptiness of one who bore hell for many days. The village, watching from the shadows of their hideouts, knew the curse could at least be temporarily broken. But the terror was far from over. In her last breaths, Isabel murmured a warning. The fire of the curse does not extinguish. It only sleeps, waiting for the next call, the next Thursday, to rise again and gallop through the Cerrado shadows to haunt the living.